What's up, everybody? My name is Denoris Wilson. You are now tuned in to the BRI, which is the Black Research Institute, where we're here and we're committed to solving the problems. My name is Denoris Wilson. Once again, I'm your host. And tonight I got my dates mixed up with tonight's guest. Charges to my head, not my heart. But he's an author, and I had him on the show previously. So tonight I'm just going to re-air that interview so that people can get more familiar with him, and also to let people know that he will be here next week live to talk about his new book rather. But until then, enjoy this re-airing of Custodio Gomes, author and activist. And remember, in order for you to receive a blessing, you must first be a blessing. All right? Peace. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the BRI, which is the Black Research Institute, man. I'm smiling because I was just in the green room with my man, Odie, and this is going to be a great interview, man. So I hope you tune in, stay to the interview. We're going to talk to this brother, very positive brother, intelligent brother, funny. I don't talk to him that often, but every time I talk to him, man, I definitely leave with something. So I'm gonna roll this interview, man. I mean this intro, and when we get back, we're gonna introduce tonight's guest.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Kika Jackson from Work Fitness, and you're watching the BRI Black Research Institute with Denoris Wilson. Deuces.
Welcome back to BRI. I hope y'all like the new intro, man. Something I put together. But, you know, without further ado, I like to introduce you, Mr. Look, I get his name wrong, but this is Odie to me, man. This is O.D. His real name is, I let him tell you his real name because I'm from the country and I don't want to mess it up, man. So this is Custodio Gomes, man. Odie, what's up?
What's up, my bro?
Now, look, man, I don't even want to mess it up, man, because I ain't never known Custodio. How do you say it, man?
Custodio, you know what's crazy? When I first met you at Southern, you said the same thing. It's like, listen, I heard them call you whatever, but I heard somebody else say Odie. I'm going to go with Odie. I don't know if you remember that, but it's Custodio Gomes.
No, Odie. It's Odie, man. It's Odie. Yo, before we get into the meat of the interview, man, let the people know a little bit about Custodio.
All right. Born and raised in Cape Verde, West Africa. Came here with my parents' family. I'm an educator. I'm an author. Father first. Let me not forget that, because I know my daughter probably is definitely going to see this and she's going to say, well, you didn't shout me out, but definitely father first and community activist. So I just try to do everything to help everyone in every way that I can.
Yeah. And you know, ever since I met you, I've always gotten that vibe from you, brother. It's never been anything other than that. But as I told you in the green room, man, before I went to Southern Connecticut State University, man, I ain't know nothing about no damn Cape Verde. I ain't know nothing like that. I ain't never heard of Cape Verde. You know, so when I met you and you know, the other, you know, Cape Verdeans, you know, Rita, Anna, Liz, yeah. was like, yo, y'all from Africa? Like, you know what I mean?
I get that all the time. I still get it to this day.
Like, you from Africa? Like, you, whoa. Like, but man, and all of y'all were down to earth and cool. And I mean, I'm glad I went to Southern and I met a lot of good people, but I'm glad that I went there to be able to meet, you know, the Cape Verdean people like yourself and Ann and them, because man, I'm y'all nothing but stand up people in my book, like always, all of y'all. So, but yo, man, so I want to get into when I first met you at Southern. I told you this. You was a skinny little short dude, man. Like just like a skinny little short dude. But mentally, you were miles beyond your peers, right? Like you were always focused. You know what I mean? Like you joke and have fun and all that, but you was always focused, man. Where did you get that from? Like that focus and that like just disciplined to stay on course. Where did that come from?
Honestly, it was definitely my upbringing. You know, when you come from where I come from, you see, you know, growing up in Cape Verde, because I didn't come here till I was almost 10 years old. So humility is definitely part of your diet. And if you don't have that, then you have no empathy or sympathy for anyone that's around you who's experiencing what you experience. So, you know, living in that type of environment, it teaches you that life is it's more about, you know, others rather than just yourself. Of course, you have to build yourself up, but you have to do for others. So you know, you have that humility. And then you watch, like I watched my parents, you know, both of my parents working here. You know, when we came here, we lived in Brooklyn, New York, and my parents, you know, would catch the train, go to Manhattan. The hustle was so serious that just watching them made me realize, and my mother would always tell me that, you know, you have to be better than us, and then your child has to be better than you. So the generational thing was definitely something that they implemented in me. So the hard work of watching them and of course being taught it, you know, the duality of both of them definitely made me who I was. So I realized that I had much more to do than just to go to college and have fun. I mean, it was good to have fun, but I knew that I had to go to college for that. Also, another thing that a lot of people don't know is that my mother never went to school. My mother took care of her younger siblings, so she always emphasized education. And my father, I think, went to, I want to say, the most third, fourth grade. So education was a great thing. So, you know, reading and learning about things just made me who I was, and it made me be, you know, who I needed to be.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can say this, brother. Like you remember I told you about my experiences with the federal colleges before I went to Elizabeth. I mean, before I went to Southern Connecticut State University, man. And I was determined that I wasn't gonna like be the same person.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wasn't gonna be the same person. And that person that I was before the federal college was a person who was, you know, just waking up and doing whatever. Like just whatever happens. And then I realized, like, you know, as far as my destiny is concerned, I'm in control.
Absolutely.
Right? Like I'm in control. And when I went to Southern, it sort of fortified that because I was around other people who had aspirations of being in control of their life too. Right? So I didn't want to be the low man on the totem pole, meaning, you know, the dummy in the room.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that guy. Like, no, So I had to keep up. So I kept reading. You know what I mean? I kept reading, kept trying to get more information. And I say that to preface that whenever I ran into you, you know, and as I told you in the green room, we didn't really hang out, but when we ran into each other, it was at least an hour conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Always. The least. But you know what's crazy? Like, you know how I related to it? I was watching one of my favorite movies the other day. And it's crazy because the first time I met you, I literally connected to that movie. I mean, I had watched it before I had met you, before I went to Southern. But that movie definitely exemplifies who you and I are as a friendship and as a connection and what we experience at Southern is higher learning. You know, you remember Omar Epps. I was the young freshman coming in as Omar Epps, and you were Ice Cube, who already had been around the block. You knew what the professors were about. You knew what Black history, you know, was not being taught in whatever way. You knew how to navigate through there. So when I would have these conversations with you, I felt as if I was connecting to someone who I would eventually have the same kind of mindset in reference to education, and not education what we learn in college, but education of in yourself, and reading on your own, and learning about your culture, learning about your history and whatnot. So when I connected with you, it was a breath of fresh air, because I was looking at myself 2-3 years down the road. Or this is how I'm a junior, how I'm a senior, or whatever it is. So it was always a great connection between you and I. Plus, you know how we connected through Black Student Union. So
I love that time there. And then, you know, we both leave Southern, and I look up and I had, you know, lost visuals of you and for a while. Like, you know, I hadn't seen you for a while.
Yeah.
And I look up, man, and I see you, and you in this nice suit, and you got your book up, you know. I'm like, look at Odie, look at little Odie, man. So I had to download Metamorphosis, right? Like, I downloaded it. I ain't tell you, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't be like, yo, Odie, I got your book. Like, do you tell Langston Hughes you got his book? You know what I mean? So I didn't tell you, but I was like, yo, this is a little skinny kid that I ran into at Southern, and he's writing like this, right? Like, and what I like about Metamorphosis is, and I hope you don't take this disrespectfully, but it is written in a prose that's easy to understand.
Well, that was the point of writing it. That's how I wanted it to come off.
Right.
But you would get
it. Right.
How we interact, it was always proses, and it was always easy, because I can't remember who it is, maybe to cut you off, but I can't remember who it was, but I met somebody one time. Oh, it was Michael Eric Dyson. And so I was in New York. He had a book event or whatever. So I went down there, you know, met him. We sat down, we chit-chatted or whatever. And he said, because, Michael Eric Dyson's intelligence is on another planet. Okay. He's
right.
He's the James Baldwin of this era. We'll say that. In reference to an intellect and how he writes. But he said, you know, no matter how smart you are, you have to understand you were not that smart one time. So you cannot write as if you are trying to trick the reader. You want them to elevate. So you have to keep it at an intellectual level, but enough for them to understand. So I'm glad that you got that.
I mean, you know, for me, the reason why I didn't read before federal colleges is because every time I read something, I would have to get a dictionary, because there may be a word in there that I didn't know anything about, and most of the time those words are important because they provide context. You know what I mean? Like, they provide like a setup for what they're really talking about. And it was just it was like, between going from reading the book to reading the dictionary to figure out a word, I'm like, I'm not going through that. You know, and once again, no disrespect. I honestly think it was genius of you to write it that way. Like, it was a genius thing to write it that way. By no means is it rudimentary. By no means is it rudimentary, right? But it's an easy prose. You know what I mean? Like, it's an easy prose. Like, it's almost like, it sort of reminds me of As a Man Thinketh.
Love that book.
Right. And that's a simple book. That ain't it's you know what I mean? But the concepts behind that book is mind blowing. Yeah. Right? Like, it's a mind blowing. And Metamorphosis is right on that level. Like, it's right on that level. Wow. From what I when I read it, I was like, yo, wow. Like, it ain't like As a Man Thinketh is not mind blowing, right? Like, wow, it's not that. It's like, I should be doing that.
No, I should know this already.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Like
you
you
in the
know
head.
what I mean?
I know this.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I get from reading Metamorphosis. I know you have a couple, at least one other book that I haven't read yet, but I read Metamorphosis. And let me tell you something. I'm proud of you, bro. Like I am very proud. First, I'm proud of you on two fronts. I'm proud of you for the writing because it's excellent writing. Because it's more like a um self-reflection type of prose, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also proud of you for having the courage to put it out. Right? Like that takes a lot of courage to put your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences on paper and in a book form for the world, not just to read, but to critique.
And that's what people are afraid of, the critique part.
The critique part. And I applaud you for doing that, man. So that I set you up. That was a brilliant setup. So I set you up for this, right? so Metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Tell me the inspiration and tell me why the name. I think I know by reading the book, but I want to hear from the author.
Well, so the first book was Life, Love, and War. So the concept of it is actually most of the first book was written at Southern. So that's all the stuff that I have, and I ended up putting it together in the first book. The second book, it was me interviewing other people. Okay, that's why I called it the human experience, because there's so many different topics in there that it had nothing to do with me. Actually, my stories in there were getting custody of my daughter, but the main focus of the book was everybody else and what they went through and how they persevered and how they're doing great things and inspiring others. Metamorphosis came around when it came around, the idea of, okay, what's my next book going to be? I realized that I had grown. So I had surpassed that stage of, okay, I did my angry guy thing from college from the first book. Okay, the second one, I did everybody's stories and do it. Now it's for me to come out of my shell and show everybody who I am and what my ideals are and what I believe life should be about and how you tackle certain situations, what I talk about in the book with different, with different chapters. So the title came from, I feel like I finally became a butterfly. You know what I mean? It literally became that kind of, metamorpho, like type, kind of like I was sitting inside that cocoon for so long that was like, now was exactly what you said. I'm ready. I'm ready for the criticism. I'm ready for everybody having their comments or their questions or whatever it is. So now it's time to expand so people can just see who I really am through the book. That's why when the people ask me which one's my favorite book, I would say that one. But I say that every new book that I write, it's usually my favorite book.
Well, as it should. You know what I mean? Like, I think like when you are creative, which you are, when you are creative, you always trying to outdo your last creation.
Exactly.
Like you, and if you don't feel like you outdid your last creation, then ain't no use of putting that out.
No. And then you're just being complacent and you sticking. I remember one time I had read somewhere, I can't remember what I read it, and it said if you continue to Google yourself, you will never elevate because you're stuck in who they have you on there because of your past accomplishments. So I don't do things like that because I figure my next one has to be my best one. My best one has to be the next one. I just have to keep going and you have to become better. Like anything else that you do, your next thing that you do has to be better. But you also have to keep that hunger of it's your first project. Doesn't matter if it's my 10th book or my first book. To me, they're all my first projects. So I give 1,000%. And not even just every page or, every chapter, it's every word means something. So not just the paragraph or the whole page, but the word. So the word adds to the sentence adds to the paragraph. So everything has to make place. And I don't know if it's me being the type of writer that, I want to be a perfectionist in a way, but I just want to make sure that when they read it, because I don't like to read and get lost. So I make sure whatever I write, I have to keep you. I have to hold you. I have to hold your mind because a lot of people don't like to read. So if you hold their minds, you can always get better with every word, every line, every book. So I continually try to strive for better and aspire to write better in every new book that I write.
So the books that you write, are they from inspiration or from what you feel is needed, or a combination of both?
A combination of both. It's a reflection of what I've experienced and what I've been inspired by others who I've come across in my lifetime, what they've experienced. So it can be, a conversation I had with them, and it sets off some kind of inspiration in me, and I make sure that I put it on paper, because this is when when I get old, when I don't remember anything, because I usually remember everything. So whoever I come across and I have that conversation with them and I build with you, I learn something from you. I try to learn something from everyone. Doesn't matter age group, doesn't matter if it's a little kid, if it doesn't matter if it's an old 100-year-old person. So I try to put out what the world needs, which is a humanity thing. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what, in Metamorphosis, that is the underlining theme, right? You ended a chapter by saying, listen to understand.
Oh, absolutely. And not respond.
Right? And not respond. Right. Listen to understand and not respond. And the thing about it is that a lot of us hear.
Yeah.
We hear. Like right now, even you hear my voice, but you also hear other things, the sound of the air conditioner in your room, you know what I mean, the wind or somebody outside. You hear that,
yeah,
but you're not listening for that. The things that you listen for are the things that you bring into your mind and try to analyze, right? Yeah. Like, but the problem is those things that we're not analyzing that are still coming into our mind, like just haphazardly, they just come into my and prime example of that. I went to the Navy. Before I went to the Navy, I did not curse. I didn't curse. Curse words, that's wasn't me. But I was around it so much, right? And hearing it so much that up one day I found myself a real sailor. You know what I mean? Like a
cursing.
Right. Like I'm like, what's going on? Like, because I was around it so much. And even though I heard it and wasn't paying attention to it, it was still going into my mental computer. Right. It was still going into my mental computer. And I say that to say something that you said in your book. You was like, be careful who you open up your thoughts and your spirits to. Right?
You really read the book.
I'm telling you, man, I read the book. Listen, man, look, Odie, I'm proud of you, man. And I'm not just proud of you for writing a book. Right? It's not just that you wrote a book. It's that you wrote a good book. Right? Anybody can write a book. Anybody can write a book. It's that you took your time and wrote a good book. Because had it not been a good book, I wouldn't have got past the first chapter.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm proud of you. But when you say be careful about who you let in your thoughts and your spirits, a lot of us don't really take that into account. Yeah. Right? We feel like, okay, if I encounter some bad spirits, then I can ward it off. Like somehow I can get rid of it like that. Mm-hmm. But in my experience, warding something off takes a whole lot more energy than it would be if you blocked it in the first place.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's why I don't listen to today's rap. I won't listen to it. You know what I mean? Like the beats are phenomenal. I wish I can get instrumentals, but I'm not listening. You know what I mean? I'm not listening to, because I got Sirius XM in the car. Yeah. And they uninhibited. It's whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
It's whatever. And and you know, and I used to chalk it up as me being old when, you know, I hear somebody rhyming it and they do a, you know, they may say a curse word and my ears start to hurt. Odie, like it, like, oh, like, right. And I'm like, yo, you're getting old. But then I realized it's not old.
No,
You're getting wise. You're getting wise.
you don't want that.
Yeah, you understanding that if it goes in, it got to come out.
It's got to come out, or it will sit there,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes part of your consciousness. And that's why
Right.
I wrote what I wrote, and exactly what you said, you know, in that chapter, because what you put in, eventually you become. So you have to be
Right.
type of music you listen to or whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody loves entertainment, but you have to understand that you cannot allow it to penetrate your psyche, because if it does, it becomes part of your mental state. So let's say if I'm trying to focus on writing a book like Metamorphosis, I can't listen to the type of hip hop that's on right now. I might throw on Public Enemy or KRS-One or Rakim, you know, anyone that's has a conscious mindset, you know, a Black Thought, or, you know what I mean, somebody who's actually going to feed the mind. Because if you, whatever you bring in and you allow yourself to be attached to, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever you want to call it, that you will eventually become part of that. That's just like the way they say, you know, who you hang with is who, you know, who you are. And that's the same thing with listen to, and the people you deal with, how they interact, how they move in life. You know, that's why they say don't move with someone. I can't get advice from someone that's not doing anything, telling me how I should do this to be successful, whatever it is. You can't add to me. So
Right.
that everyone you come across in life is in addition to you. So you have to be careful what you listen to.
And also I can't add to you either. Right? Because, you know, we talked about in the green room, Marcus Garvey is like the man for me, right? And, you know, I frequently quote him, but he said something that was impactful to me. And he said, and when I read it, it was like, wow. He said, look, he said, do not attempt to try to bring people up to your level, because if you do, they will bring you down to theirs. Absolutely. Because falling is easy. It only takes momentum. Climbing takes effort. What?
Man. just listening to that, and you sit there and let's say you don't even have to read or hear anything for the rest of the day. You just dwell on that comment, on that. Man.
Oh, when I read that, I was like, yeah, I've been hanging out with people and that the momentum is bringing me down.
Yeah.
Like it's bringing me, because like I want friends that's going to check me when I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
That's a real friend. I want somebody that's going to check me when I'm wrong. But I only wanted that after reading that particular sentence, because then I understood what that actually meant, right? Like I understood what having friends that hold you accountable, like how important that is. And when I look at your book and I read, you know, and I read what you wrote, and I'm like, you know, like the chapter where you had accept your life, right? Like accept your life. There are a lot of people who dream of a better life.
Yeah.
Right? They but it's just a dream. Right? Like that's all it is. And they dream it so long that eventually it becomes a nightmare.
Absolutely.
Because it's the thing that's holding them back, the dream, right? Because they have not woken up and put things in place to achieve the dream. Right. So once I realized that, man, and you need confirmation from all over the place.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. You need confirmation. So I read your book and I'm like, it's different words, but it's the same concept as Marcus Garvey. right? Like they different words, but they saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, I'm telling you, Odie, when I read it, I couldn't help but to be like, you know, had that brother went to another school and not came to my BSU, he probably wouldn't have wrote a book.
I would have partied all the time. I would have never had the conscious mindset.
Nah, that wasn't you. You came in college with a mission, bro.
Yeah.
You came in a mission. You definitely did. And I noticed that from the get. And but I don't want to give too much of the book away.
Yeah.
Right? Because I actually want people to actually download it, because I think it is good reading. It's good for your soul. It gives you something to ponder versus react, right? So I'm not going to give too much of it, but I got to get into religion versus spirituality. I got to get into that, because
you want to get
like that's like a hot topic right now, because everybody swear they spiritual. Oh, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, right?
Yeah.
Me personally, I see value in both of them.
Yeah.
Right. I see value in both of them. When you really break down the etymology of the words, you understand it, right? You understand that religion, to me, is rebinding you to the source, right? Yeah. And they do that in the form of written literature, right? That's how they do it. They rebind you to the source through the form of written literature. But spirituality binds you to the source by going inside yourself,
which is what you're supposed to do,
right? Go inside yourself. But because we dwell as human beings on two planes, actually three planes, because we dwell on the physical plane, we dwell on the mental plane, and we dwell on the spirit plane, right? We are all of those. We have to somehow make those work in unison with one another. Right? Like they can't be opposite of one another. You can't say I love God and go out here and kill 100 people.
or I'm doing it in the name of God.
Exactly, because you spoke of that. Like in the name of religion, there's been wars all over and throughout decades in the name of God, and that everyone claims that their particular brand of religion is the one true religion. Yeah, see, I read your book, man. Like I read it.
Say, it sounds like you read that somewhere that it sounds familiar to me.
yeah, come on, I read your book. So speak on that, Odie. Like when you say like religion versus spirituality, what do you like? What do you see the difference in the two is?
Well, I think to piggyback on what you said, spirituality is an absolute must. You cannot you cannot speak on religion without having a spiritual mindset. You cannot have a connection without having a spiritual mindset. I think the issue with religions nowadays is just that I believe that everybody thinks that theirs is the main one, which is what it is. It's your belief. I am not one to ever say you're wrong. That's not my, because I would feel like I would be judging you in any way, and that's not any position of any human being. Okay, if I feel like my religion is the one, the religion, then I would try to educate you and try to give you what I believe and what I think and what it is. I think that's what it should be. But sadly, religions throughout history, throughout mankind, has been a form of separation. I can go to a synagogue and sit there and talk to all of their members. I can go to a church and talk to all their members. I can go to speak to, a pastor, an imam, or whoever it is the leader of the religious place that I'm in, and try to learn from them. I think the problem is that we believe that we're right. So that means we already going in there with a mindset of, I know I'm right, So, but I'm just want to hear you just for, I don't know if it's a political thing or whatever the underlining reasoning is, it stems you and keeps you in your own belief without opening your mind to understanding what other people are. And I believe if you're religious, you should be able to go to anywhere in any religion and connect with them and build with them, you know. Spirituality, on the other hand, if you truly believe that you're a spiritual person, you know and you feel that you have a connection to the higher power. So therefore, everyone, age, sex, gender, whatever it is, you know that you are all from the same creator. We just have differences in where we grew up, culturally, whatever it is, socioeconomic, whatever the situation is. But you understand that your goal is to help that person reach that source, whoever it is, or whatever it is, you know. So in that chapter, I really go through different religions and different understandings or sayings of spirituality, and how it's sad how people have separated from one another. Like you said earlier, you know, it's been used, you know, with wars or whatnot, but it's sad to see that people will kill in the name of religion, whatever it is, you know. Let's take it back to even slavery time. You know, we're using a scripture because, you know, we're here to cleanse you because you're a heathen, you know. Who are you to say? So it's like people like to say, it's a deep conversation that would take forever. But, you know, in the book, in that chapter, I really, I jump in and I really try to give a different perspective of what I think it is, you know. And am I right? I mean, some people are going to believe I am, some people are going to believe I'm not, and which is fine with me. But that's the whole point of dialogue. It can be literary or it can be verbal. But the whole point of it is to create dialogue, to be able to become to an understanding and a connection, because the way the world is, there is zero dialogue. That's what we have, the issues we have.
Right. You know what's funny for me is that, you know, when you think about religion, right? We spend so much time as human beings pointing out the differences in what the religions are. Like we point out, like, you know, you know, Christians, they have Jesus, Islam have Muhammad, you know, then, you know, Buddhism got Buddha, Zoroaster got Confucius. Like everybody got their own person, right?
Yeah.
But you concentrating on the person,
yes,
but not concentrating on the unity of the message.
Yes,
because all of them say the same thing,
and we all get to the same place. That's the funny thing, because
right,
they have the same
right. So they saying the same thing, right? So they saying the universe. One thing that you can find in all of them, and I'm saying it in English, but it may be quoted a different way in another language. But love thy neighbor as I love thyself.
Absolutely.
That is in every religious scripture, and I've read you know, a few, right? That's in everyone, right? But people seem to skip over that, right? Like they skip over that aspect and then point to the figurehead of that religion and use that to differentiate themselves from one another, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cody.
I think a lot of people use that, you know, as a form of, you know, like, you know, subjugation of another religion, you know, because if you say, yes, like you said earlier, we supposed to love our neighbor like we love ourselves. Okay, then you should never see any difference in anyone who is a human being. You shouldn't see. There are differences because, like I said, cultural, socioeconomics, whatever the situation is and whatnot.
Man-made differences. Man-made
differences, because at the end of the day, man cannot change blood. So our blood is all the same. So regardless of what you worship, who you worship, or whatnot, you have to have a love for everyone, and you have to have a willingness to understand and learn from them. You know, and it goes back to the other point that you said earlier. You have to learn to listen, to understand. Not I tell you something and then you say something to me and I'm just listening to really like, okay, go ahead, do your thing. So I can
Go ahead. Right.
Many people are listening to respond rather to understand, because if you understand other people, if you try to understand other people, should I say, you will learn to appreciate them, and then you can actually learn from them rather than trying to belittle them in any kind of form, either intellectually or verbally in any way. If you put anyone down and then you claim some type of spirituality or religion, that makes you a hypocrite. So you cannot. It's a very slippery slope, and I think the differences between the religious and institution.
But it ain't a slippery. It ain't. No, Odie.
It's a slippery slope for someone who believes that theirs is it's what it is, and yeah, yours is cute, but I'm not willing to listen to what you're saying. So
but this is the thing though. That one word that you said, believe, right? Yeah. Believe. Now, if people really, when people say, I believe in God, or I believe there's a creator, right? You're not saying you basically saying maybe it is. Yeah. Because that's what belief is. Belief ain't the truth. Belief is just
you believe what you have been taught or what you've read on your own or whatever, however you came across it, and you believe in something that you hope that is there because you didn't see it, but you have a belief in what you can't see.
Exactly. And to me, in that lies the problem. You should not believe in something that you don't understand. Stevie Wonder said it best. When you believe in things you don't understand, then you discover superstition ain't the way. Because when you believe in something that you don't understand, that's superstitious.
True, but to flip it on that one, people connected in reference to like faith. If you have faith, and your own mindset is what you learn and what you believe and what you think it's there. So some people have faith and others don't. So it all depends.
See, that's why I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Right. I definitely want to talk to you about that. Is when you say have faith, what is faith?
Exactly what we said. Believing in something that you have not seen.
So faith is an extension of belief.
Some sort.
Me, I think faith is your belief in action. For example, if I walk down the street, me and you, we're walking down the street and these guys jump me, right?
Yep.
When they come out and they jump me,
yep.
At that moment, I would believe that you would help me. I believe it. I don't know it to be true or not, but that's what I'm going to believe. I'm going to believe that, right?
I'm going to hope.
But if you do help me, the next time I'm walking down the street and someone is about to jump me, I got faith that you're going to help me. Yeah. Because I seen it before. Like my belief is not out of a vacuum.
Yeah.
Right? Like me and you and I the same people. If someone tells you something, you're not gonna believe it until you research it yourself. Yeah, right? You're gonna research it yourself to see if it's worthy of a belief or not. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Most people are not doing that. They're believing off of what somebody says.
Well, of course. I mean, you're always gonna have blind sheep. We know that. There's always going to be people that are just going to take what is told to them instead of, what they've learned or read for themselves or researched for themselves or whatever. So that all comes with having a mindset of, I'm just going to go by what they say because they would never lie to me. And I believe them. So I think that's in the individual.
I don't even think that people say I'm going to believe what they have to say because they'll never lie to me. I think they say I'm going to believe what they got to say because I don't want to do the work to find out if it's true or not.
Oh, that's a lot of people. I think that's a lot of people, but understand, remember, but if you're around someone that's, let's say, who is your leader or whatever you want to call them, you just tend to believe that they wouldn't lie to me. There's no way they would ever lie to me. So you don't even, it doesn't even become a mindset of I'm going to go research whatever they're saying, because you think in your mind that this is what it is, because they would never lead me astray from what we have been taught. So it all depends on individuals. So you have to do your research, whatever it is.
Man. So we talked about, and I, see what I'm saying, Odie? We've been talking and it's been 45 minutes already. Like, so.
Yeah,
but
that's how it was at Southern. We would see each other and time would fly by.
Yeah, but we haven't even got into your activism, brother, because I remember one conversation we was having. I remember when voting the election was coming around, and you was telling people about the electoral colleges and letting people know what the Supreme Court had done, in that ruling where, if a politician, if the president won a state, they got all the electoral college votes. Whereas before they passed that legislation, let's say a president won a state, but he only got 60% of the state, then he will only get 60% of the electoral colleges. So when I seen you do that, I was like, yo, when I saw you do that, I was like, okay. I always knew that you were grounded in community like activism, and just at Southern, I knew that you had that in you, right? But after you left college, what made you dig your feet in and to that aspect of adulthood, like the activism part? What made you? Like I said, I already knew you had that character, but what made you initiate it? Let me say it that way.
Because you go back, you know what I mean? Like, I've always had this mindset that, no matter how far you go forward, you have to always reach back. We can speak about like Harriet Tubman, you know what I mean? Or anyone who ran from slavery. Once you get to freedom, you feel great that you're there and you've hit a certain plateau in your life, but you're not fully fulfilled until you go back and get others who are in, and it could be their mindset, it could be their economic issue, whatever it is that's holding them back. You have to have the mentality of, I have to go back and help out. Do you understand? Because I don't believe in, that's why I have a real issue with celebrities who will do something, once a year, twice a year, or whatever, just for some kind of just to take a picture, anything. So someone can say, "Oh, you kind of giving back or whatever." I believe that is a necessary. That is a necessary tool that you have to carry with you, no matter how far you go in life. You have a responsibility to go back and help. Like I have about, I want to say 6 months ago, the female who's running for Prime Minister of Cape Verde, she was up here, so we had a dinner for her or whatever, and so she and I sat down when we had a long conversation, and I said to her, I have a plan that I've always had. I just didn't have no connections down there to how, to implement it. So she was like, well, we'll tell me what it is. So my thing is, I know a lot of Cape Verdean educators up here. My thing is, I said to her, if the government of Cape Verde would provide shelter and for educators to go down there and teach English, I will do my part on this side and somehow come up with money, do events or whatever I have to do to pay for the flights. They will go down there for 2 weeks and they will teach the kids down there English. Mm-hmm. Because I think, and most of them are first generational Americans. So they have, they weren't born in Cape Verde. They don't know the struggle. They don't know what it was. So my whole mindset was, I know what it was. I remember being in school in Cape Verde. I remember there was no food. I remember there was no lunch. I remember there was no gym. There was nothing. It was just, you're in a classroom. The teacher teaches and they bring a big pot. They pour it into your little bowl or whatever you have. You go home, you wash it the next day, you bring it back, and that was the education. So I think to give those kids down there more of an opportunity, you would bring educators who are Cape Verdean from here, and even if they're not Cape Verdean, if they're willing to go down, I'm good with that, because of course there would be translators down there, and I would go. It would be like a 2-week thing, and to educate the children on a higher level rather than what they just have there. So that's just one form of, I believe, that you have to give back wherever you came from. So when I was coming out of college, I didn't know how I was gonna go about changing your people's mindsets on giving back or whatever, but I knew something eventually was gonna come out. So I ended up getting together with a few friends of mine and whatnot, and we just started doing certain things. Like we started doing for Thanksgiving, we did something called Friendsgiving. We got a whole amount of, oh my God, a community just pitched in, and we would feed 2,000-3,000 homeless on a 2-3 day thing. We had mentors who would, deal with children from 10 to 17 or 18, whatever it was. So there was always the mindset to give back. And no matter how successful you become, or how people, put you at a certain pedestal, you have to understand, you have to always be able to sympathize and empathize, especially if you went through it, so you would sympathize. But if you did not, you would have to empathize and have a humble mentality of, I'm here to help others. I'm not here just to make for myself and make money and do all these great things in life, but others have nothing to eat. So my mindset was always on that path of, helping others in the best way that I could.
Well, I mean, like I said, when I saw you doing it, I was like, it fits, right? Like it fits. You know how you can see somebody and they doing something, like, why the hell are you doing that? Like, like why are you doing that? That ain't him. That ain't him. You know what I mean? Or her. But when I saw you doing that, I was like, that fits, man. And just to piggyback off of what you said about we're here to help.
Yeah.
I have this in my mind all the time. Like, no one chooses where they're born.
Yeah.
No, like no one. That's something that you cannot. You can't choose that. So that kid in Cape Verde that may be starving could have easily been you.
Oh, I was that kid.
Not you personally, but anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been anybody. Because, and then I also live by, like, we don't live in this world alone. Right? We don't live in this world alone. And yes, we all have free will. Everybody has a free will. They can do what they want to do. But at some point, that free will need to be activated in the service to others. Absolutely. Because you don't live on this earth by yourself. Right? Like you have an obligation to service others in any kind of capacity that you deem fit, but you have to service. And well, you're Cape Verdean. Well, no, you Cape Verdean, Black, the African American. That's what you are. That's what you are, right? So you got the African king and prince thing going on, and then you got you got the Black militant Huey P. Newton thing going on. Like, you got a whole little thing going on, right? But you gotta you understand that. Look, I don't care how far I make it. I'm still Black
all day.
Like, I'm still, and you have that. So, and because I'm still Black, as far as I make it, I'm gonna bring as many people or help as many people get to where I'm at, and then some. And then some. And as I told you in the green room, man, when I thought about doing this series, man, I knew that I was gonna ask you to come on the show. Like, I knew that, but I wanted to get everything together because, one thing I do know about you, man, you're not a perfectionist. It's not that you're a perfectionist, but it got to be right.
It's got to be right. You know that.
Yeah, it got to be right, man. Hey, Odie, man, it's always a pleasure, man, whenever I link up with you, man. So before we go, tell the people about your books and where they can purchase your books at.
Okay. So my first 3 books, you can buy them. So you can purchase them on Amazon. You could just type in my name, Custodio Gomes, and they'll just come on there. If you follow me on social media, it's author Custodio Gomes. It'll take you. There are always links that it can take you straight to Amazon, and you can purchase the books. If you want, personally signed books, then you could just send me a message, and we can just go from there. And my 4th one comes out spring of 2021, which is totally different from my first 3 books.
Okay.
Because all of my books are all different. The first one was different from the second. Second is different from. They're all different. This one is actually my first novel, but it's just not a novel. It's based on true events. I just created characters around it that you would never know unless you know.
Oh, you did some Law and Order stuff.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. It happened, but some of the things that did not happen that I added to it, so it gives a new spin to it. But it's a revolutionary book, of course. But it's based on 2 things, and exactly what we were just talking about life. But it's based on you helping others through love.
Okay.
But you can't do that without yourself. So it's
Right.
various characters in it. Like I said, it's my first novel, but it's very different, and I'm excited from it. And I'm gonna say, like I said before, this is gonna be my favorite book.
Right.
And it'll
Well,
be
I can tell you this, man.
Yeah.
I can tell you this. When it come out, Odie, when it come out, I want first print, autograph first print.
I'm about to say, I'm gonna send you one. You already know that.
Autograph first print, man. I want that. And look, I'm gonna get the autograph first print, and I'm gonna put it in a frame. I ain't gonna never read that one, but I'm gonna download one. I'm gonna buy one myself, because I'm gonna tell you something. You're gonna be famous, and that book gonna be worth a whole lot more money than what you gonna sell it for.
And then I tell you one thing though, and like I've always told people, you were definitely one of the few that definitely helped me build my mindset and what I wanted to do in life in reference to a consciousness and a level of helping humanity. Because our conversations at Southern really, it was refreshing every time you and I met together, every time we spoke in any kind of capacity, but it was always refreshing. So you are definitely one of like the human beings that I would forever be grateful for, because the way you helped groom me at that young age that I was. I mean, you were like 3 grades above me, but the way you took your time and you and I would have these conversations, it was always great. Because it's funny you said that, because I couldn't have conversations with people at my age group at that age group.
Yeah. Look what your Cape Verdean sister says.
My girl Anna's on.
Hey Anna, look, when I said that you're gonna be great, she said, from your mouth to God's ears, Denores.
We go back.
That was another one of my executive board members right there. And remember, she was on the executive board. Sadia, Lisa, Nicole. Hey man, so it's customary that before I let my guests go, I ask them 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully you haven't been, well, it's sort of double-edged sword. Hopefully you have been watching the show, but maybe you skipped this part of the show. But the first question is, what are you doing to push the culture forward?
What am I doing to push the culture forward? Putting out content that we are in dire need in this generation. Not just books, but conversations and somehow helping young ones understand that, our culture has to always be maintained to the highest level.
Okay, that's what's up. So the next question is, I need for you to name me 3 famous Black people.
Yeah.
But they can't be athletes or entertainers. You've been watching the show because you ready. You ready. Yeah, you ready.
Come on, man. Marcus
Okay,
Garvey.
come on.
Marcus Garvey.
Okay.
You know what? We're going to do 4. Marcus Garvey is just our plus since that's your guy. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to go with Amilcar Cabral from Cape Verde.
Okay.
We're going to go with Patrice Lumumba from the Congo. And we're going to go with Steve Biko from South Africa.
See, that's what I'm saying, though. See, I said black people. I didn't say African. You named all African.
All right, so we'll do it in America real quick. I'll
I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you.
Hold on, Oprah. Nah, I'm messing with you.
Nah, but look, when I say that to people, right? When I say that to people,
yeah,
they be ready to name famous black people, but then I say you can't name athletes or entertainers. They're like, whoa, whoa. And I do that to let us know we need to know more about ourselves. Like,
hold on,
you
Michael Eric Dyson, Paul Robeson, James Baldwin.
No, you giving people answers. You can't give people answers.
I'm giving them stuff for them to go look up.
Okay, all right. Okay, you get a pass on that, Odie. You get a pass on that. Definitely. But no, man, it's always a pleasure, man. And I'm not gonna wish you any type of luck because luck has nothing to do with what you're about to do. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pray that you continue to have the strength and the effort and the determination to go and walk in the path that you're currently walking in, and that you will reach the destination that you feel that you need to reach. And I know you're gonna reach it. But I want to thank you for agreeing to the interview, brother. And I'm proud of you, man. I'm not only proud of you, I'm proud to say I know you. You know what I mean? So when I see you on TV and I'm around a whole bunch of friends or whatever, I'm like, yo, I know him. Like, I know him. I went to school with him. I done talked to him. That's my friend. And everybody can be like, you don't know him. You don't know him.
Just call me and then it's over.
And then I call you like, Odie, don't I know you? But man, I'm proud of you.
It literally is my honor. I love you, my brother. You know, we go back decades,
Same here,
man.
brother.
So you already know what it is. So I appreciate you, and of course, you know, it's same prayers to you because you've always, you know, elevated the culture and elevated the race. So I appreciate you for always doing everything and also doing this podcast.
Thank you, bro. All right, man. I'm gonna do this outro, but hold back because I want to talk to you. But let me do this outro and then I'll come back to you. All right.
All right, bro.
All right. Yeah, that's my man Odie. So let's do this outro and I'll come back and you know we'll close it out.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Darren Adams, aka Donnie Chulo. You are watching the Black Research Institute with Denoris Wilson. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What's up? It's your girl Paulette from Suitland, Maryland, and you're watching BRI, Black Research Institute, with my boy Denoris Wilson. Stay tuned.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining into the BRI, which is the Black Research Institute, where we're here and we're committed to solving the problems. Tonight's interview was a great interview. He's a young old friend, like a young old friend, and I enjoy every conversation that I had with the brother. It would be a pleasure for you. It will be an enjoyable read for you to go pick up at least the book that I read, which is Metamorphosis. You can get it on Amazon. Custodio Gomes, just type in his name and his books will show up. Show the brother some love, show him some support. It's good reading. So I'm not asking you to patronize him because he's Black or he's African or he's Cape Verdean. I am telling you to patronize him because he's a good writer and he has good writings. So with that, I leave you. But as always, I leave you with this. In order for you to receive a blessing, you must first be a blessing. All right, everybody. Peace.